It's game time, guys. The game of the year is upon us. What's up? H-Deuce Buckeye, your boy for everything Ohio State. I'm here to talk about the game of the year. Ohio State versus USC. Out in the Coliseum in LA. Guys, I can't tell you how excited I am. I've been waiting for this game all offseason, as everyone else in the country has. But especially the Buckeye fans like myself and the Trojan fans out in LA. We have been waiting, anticipating this game for quite some time. I cannot wait, guys. It's 2 days away. Saturday night, prime time. It's going to happen. The two titans of college football will clash in the Coliseum. And it's going to be great. I'm so excited. Having a big party over here, inviting lots of friends. Gonna have a pregame football game outside my backyard. Gonna have tons of food. Gonna have a bonfire afterwards. Guys, I'm psyched. This party is gonna be sweet. This game is gonna be sweet, and I could not be more excited. You can tell by the way I'm talking. So, the two Titans will meet out in LA in the Coliseum on Saturday night. Let's compare them a little bit. What do you say? In the overall series, USC leads Ohio State 11-8-1. Now this is the classic rivalry. These two teams have met in countless Rose Bowls, year after year in the 70s and 80s. But it's been quite a while since they've played. And everybody is getting geared up and geeked up for this game, especially myself. So let's compare. All-time wins. Ohio State just joined the 800 club with the win over Ohio last Saturday. USC, not far behind, 754 wins. National titles, Ohio State 7, USC 11. Title appearances this decade. Ohio State 3, only came away with 1 victory though. USC also 3, but they came away with 2 victories. Conference championships this decade. Ohio State has 4, count them 4. 2 of them are co-championships, alright? USC has 6, that's unbelievable. That is, wow, they're such a good team. 2 co-championships. So, both teams own their conference. Bullies of the conference, alright? Great teams. We'll go at it Saturday night, and I can't wait. Now, Heisman Trophy winners. Ohio State has had 6 different winners, but you got to take into account the only 2-time Heisman winner, Archie Griffin. The great 45, baby. USC also has 7 Heisman winners. Okay? Their most recent, Carson Palmer, Matt Leinart, and Reggie Bush. For Ohio State, that's Eddie George and Troy Smith. Great players, great traditions, and they're doing great now. Doing great. So, let's get into the matchup a little bit. Shall we? I'm excited, guys. I really am. Ohio State comes in the game 2-0. Had 2 games to prepare for this football game. This clash of Titans out in LA. Now, USC only had 1 game. I think that's an advantage for Ohio State. They had 2 games to play against defenses that were not the scout team defense. 2 real game situations where they could test their offense and see what worked and see what didn't. They found out what worked in the Youngstown State game, and they found out what didn't work in the Ohio game. That's for sure. Now, Ohio State looked very sharp in the Youngstown State game. In the Ohio game, not quite as sharp. Offensive line wasn't blocking very well, but I'm sure they got that corrected. And that was obviously without Chris Beanie Wells. So that has a huge part to do with it as well. Now, he's expected to play. From what I hear, I just heard a report that maybe he won't play, like maybe he's doubtful. But everything I've been hearing this week, he's looking good, he's looking great. I think what Tressel said to the media was to get an advantage. Tell USC, yeah, he's doubtful. He probably won't play. Just make sure they don't prepare for him. Get a little advantage there. Anything he can do, because he hasn't performed in the last 2 national titles games. He's looking for any advantage he can get, and that's what I think he's doing. I think Chris Wells is fine. I think he's going to play. I think he's absolutely fine. Obviously, I'm not around the situation. I don't know for sure. That's what I think, though. We'll see. Now, The thing where USC has an advantage, where they only played one game, is that they had 2 weeks to prepare for this game, whereas Ohio State only had one, okay? So that's the advantage. I think they kind of balance each other out. Ohio State had 2 games to prepare. USC had 2 weeks of practice to prepare for Ohio State. So I think they kind of balance each other out. And obviously the home field advantage, LA Coliseum, is going to be a rowdy crowd there Friday night. My uncle and my cousin will be in attendance, paid a hefty price to go to this game. I'm a little jealous, but not of that price tag. So, let's talk a little bit about the matchups and the defensive units. Now, obviously, there will be probably 4 of the best linebackers in all of college football on the field on Saturday night. For USC, obviously, Brian Cushing, who I hear is banged up, by the way. He's going to play, but I heard he's banged up. Then you got, of course, Ray Malaluga, a freak of nature, just a great linebacker. Then, obviously, for Ohio State, you got Marcus Freeman. He's a speedy guy that brings the lumber. Then, of course, you got All-American James Laurinaitis. So, great linebackers on the field on Saturday night. It's going to be sweet to see all these tackles. I think it's going to be a more defensive game than people think. You know, I think both teams have tremendous defenses, okay, that are led by these linebackers. Cushing, Malaluga for USC, Freeman, Laurinaitis for Ohio State. Ohio State was the #1 defense in the country last season, and they returned 9 starters from that defense. Does that tell you something? That tells you they're the #1 defense in the country this year. Now USC, they're bringing a lot of speed and a lot of talent and a lot of experience back. They have a great defense as well. I believe it's going to be a somewhat low-scoring game. I'll give you my prediction later. But anyway, then you got the wideouts. Turner, 6'5", big guy. MJ will be matched up against him. Then you got Vidal Hazelton. He's 6'2", so he got some tall wideouts. That could create problems. Or I say it's great corners. Washington and O'Neal going to be back this week. Also, you got Chimney Sequel and, of course, All-American Malcolm Jenkins. Great guy. So, for Ohio State wide receiver, you got Robo, Brian Rubisky, and Brian Hartline. The Brian duo, baby. Great wide receivers. I was a little concerned they couldn't create separation from the Ohio cornerbacks, though. But I think they'll be all right. Ohio just really got up to play for that game, and Ohio State was looking towards the USC game. Then running back, McKnight, Washington, and C.J. Gable for USC. Wells, Boom Herron, and Brandon Sane for Ohio State. Stables a running back. Running backs in this game, just tremendous athletes at the tailback position. It's great. I love it. You love to see all these athletes on the field. And of course, Sanchez, quarterback for USC, and then the dual quarterback system that Ohio State's using with Beckman and Pryor. It's going to be great to see these matchups. I think Sanchez is a very good quarterback, but he hasn't proven himself to me yet. The only time he has been tested in a start is against Oregon, and that wasn't a loss, 24-17 last season. So, he has to prove to me that he can really play a good quality team and play a good secondary. Ohio State's secondary was #1 in the country last season in yards given up, and they returned every single starter. It's a test. He will be tested. The pressure that the D-line puts on each quarterback, USC on Beckman and Pryor, and Ohio State's D-line on Sanchez, I think will determine the outcome of the game. You got to get pressure. You got to force turnovers. It's going to be a great game, guys. I'm really looking forward to it. All the athleticism that will be on the field, I just cannot wait. It's going to be awesome. My prediction is Ohio State 27, USC 24. It's going to be a tight one. It's going to be a great game. I can't wait to see what happens Saturday night. I'll see you later. H-Deuce Buckeye, and I'm out.